The year was 2012. Russia's crown jewel of aviation, the Sukhoi Superjet 100, was on a Welcome Asia tour. It was sleek, modern, and supposed to be the future. Halim Perdanakusuma Airport was buzzing. Dignitaries, journalists, and potential buyers climbed aboard flight. RA-36801, the sky was overcast, typical for Bogor, but nobody sensed the impending doom. It's just a demonstration flight, they thought. They were wrong. Mount Salak. Locals call it the graveyard of aircraft. It isn't the tallest peak in Indonesia, but it is the most treacherous. Known for sudden thick fog and unpredictable updrafts, it's a wall of green hidden in white. As the Sukhoi took off for its second flight of the day, it headed straight toward this jagged titan. The pilots, veteran Russians with thousands of hours, were flying in unfamiliar territory. At 14:24, something baffling happened. Captain Alexander Yablontsev requested permission to descend from 10,000 feet to 6,000 feet. The air traffic control, ATC in Jakarta, approved it. Why? Because they thought the plane was over a different flat area. In reality, at 6,000 feet, the Sukhoi was now flying directly into the waist of Mount Salak. They were descending into a trap. Inside the cockpit, the terrain awareness and warning system, TAWS, began to scream, "Terrain ahead! Pull up!" But reports suggest the pilot thought the database was malfunctioning or simply didn't believe the mountain was there. He turned off the warning. For a few seconds, the cabin was likely filled with chatter and laughter. Then, at 14:33, the plane vanished from the radar. Total silence. When the plane didn't return, panic set in. Search and rescue teams, Basarnas, scrambled, but the weather was unforgiving. It took nearly 24 hours of grueling, trekking through vertical jungle to find the site. What they found wasn't a crash site, it was a scar. The plane had hit a near vertical cliff at high speed. There was no wreckage in the traditional sense. There was only debris scattered down a 1,000-meter abyss. The images that came back were haunting. The tail fin of the Sukhoi was wedged into a tree on a cliffside. 45 souls were on board. There were no survivors. Rescuers had to use ropes to rappel down the Siriung ravine. The recovery process was a nightmare of mud, rain, and heartbreak. Families waited at the airport, clutching photos, hoping for a miracle that would never come. Investigators from Indonesia's IAC recovered the flight data recorder. The truth was chilling. The plane was perfectly functional. There was no engine failure, no fire, no structural collapse. This was a controlled flight into terrain, CFIT. The pilot was distracted, chatting with a potential buyer in the cockpit, and ignored the automated warnings until it was too late. How does a veteran pilot make such a basic mistake? Overconfidence is a silent killer. The crew believed the path was clear. They didn't realize that in the Indonesian tropics, a cloud isn't just vapor, it hides a volcanic wall. The tragedy sparked a massive debate about safety standards for demonstration flights and the importance of localized pilot training. The Sukhoi tragedy changed Indonesian aviation. Training protocols were tightened, and the Salak corridor became a zone of extreme caution. For the families, the wound remains open. Every May, the mist of Mount Salak reminds the locals of the day. The future of aviation crumbled against the ancient rocks of West Java. A machine of millions of dollars, a crew of experts, and yet, nature had the final word. The Sukhoi Superjet 100 tragedy is a somber reminder that in the sky, there is no room for error. If you found this deep dive informative, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more aviation mysteries and historical breakdowns. Let us know in the comments. Do you think it was pilot error or a failure of the ATC system? Until next time, stay safe.